would describe my work as a whole, a look, a different perspective on everyday life, everyday things. I like to try and capture that unusual angle, creative lighting maybe perhaps. I like to see things that have intensified contrast between light and dark. It tends to enhance textures and the overall mood of the piece. I like black and white photography because it really tends to focus the eye on the subject matter, whereas oftentimes color will distract a person and draw focus to a certain place. I find that black and white really kind of captures an emotion. It really displays the lighting, the dramatics of the scene, and it just tends to be more interesting. You tend to notice details more when it's just black and white. Past Reflections is actually an image of a room reflected in an old mirror. I was walking through one of the houses that were set up at South Park, and as I turned the corner, that was actually the first thing I saw, was the reflection of the room in the mirror of the dresser. So I set up the camera, the lighting was perfect, it was coming in the window, it was a great time of day. The shears on the window acted as a natural filter for the room. I played with a couple of different compositions and angles. It was difficult because the room was kind of small, and I actually had a hard time getting the shot of the room, and using the mirror gave me the opportunity of actually capturing the whole image. I thought that the scratches and the scars in the mirror were great, set up across from the room. It kind of enhanced the sort of the age of the environment. I like to use colored pencil because I like control. I like to be able to control my movements. I like to control the shading, the color. In the past, I've always used pencil, ink, graphite, charcoal. So I like to have control of the situation. I find that I can get more detailed and get very intense coloring when I use colored pencil. The Keyhole is a self-portrait. It was an assignment that was meant to capture the artist's, I guess, personality, reflective of your artistic view, perspective on life. And the object was to do it with color, arbitrary color. So I began viewing myself through, I guess you'd call them like spoons and ocular mirrors to distort my image. And from there I used arbitrary color. And the placement, or the composition of my face kind of reminded me of peeking or observing, so I thought it would be fun to frame it in the shape of a keyhole. And this really, it kind of captures who I am. I'm kind of like that quiet observer. I observe from odd angles and perspectives, so like kneeling on the floor looking through a keyhole. And I think I'm a pretty creative and colorful person, so I use the bright colors for the coloring. Symphony in 5 Movements was a piece that I created for an art class. The assignment was to create a body of work that could be displayed together as a series. For my inspiration was music, so what I did is I listened to some music that featured particular instruments that I found interesting. And as I listened to those pieces, I came up with sketches and came up with a design for each piece. Within the piece, I've included either words or lyrics or poetry associated with the music that I listened to, so whether it be a poem that inspired a composer or vocabulary words that I feel reflect the instrument or the sound of the piece itself. I wanted a horizontal display. I envisioned that the pieces would be displayed separately, so I just assumed they'd be hanging on a wall in a row. But as the piece progressed and I started to try to arrange or come up with an arrangement for the pieces, I just ultimately decided that it was more impactful on a vertical axis instead. The purpose of my art is basically self-enjoyment. My purpose right now isn't try to sell anything. For me, it's very meditative. I can forget the world and concentrate on my artwork, especially with the colored pencil. Photography is just a medium that I enjoy while I'm out and about. But right now, yes, I very much enjoy my artwork. It's just an escape for me, and I like to bring pleasure to other people's lives as well.